Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we try to find out if our favorite companies are actually being transparent or just spinning their wheels with fancy words. Today we are diving into a report from FirstEnergy Transmission LLC that might just be about how they plan to take care of their top folks when they leave. We will see if this is a standard practice or something more telling about the company's future. Before we jump into the details, if you find value in these straightforward corporate breakdowns, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for a deeper dive and to chat about these findings, join our Discord community linked in the description below. Alright, so this is an 8K filing, which means it is a report of a big event that shareholders should know about right away. And it looks like this one is all about changes to how FirstEnergy handles executive pay and what happens when people leave the company. Think of it as an update to the company playbook for its top brass. The main player here is FirstEnergy Transmission LLC. They are a part of the bigger FirstEnergy Corp, and they handle a lot of the electricity delivery stuff. They are incorporated in Delaware and based in Fairmont, West Virginia. The core of this report is under item 5.02. This section usually covers changes in leadership or big shifts in how executives are compensated. In this case, it is about updating their severance plans and how stock awards will work. These changes are set to kick in the 1st of January 2026, so they are planning ahead. The board of directors and its compensation committee, with the help of an outside expert, have reviewed and approved these changes. This suggests they have taken a careful look at how they want to handle executive departures and rewards. They are essentially modernizing their executive compensation and severance programs to keep up with what other similar companies are doing. Let's talk about the executive severance plan. This plan is designed to give severance pay to executives who are let go for specific reasons. These include things like a facility closing down a company, restructuring a merger, or even just a reduction in the workforce. It also covers situations where an executive might decide to leave. This happens if their job changes in a way that is really bad for them. We were talking about a pay cut of 15% or more that doesn't apply to everyone else, or if they are forced to move a long distance, even if their new work location is at least 50 miles further from their home than their old one. These are referred to as qualified separations, and they trigger benefits. Now, under the updated plan for what they call Tier 3 participants, usually presidents and vice presidents, if they have a qualified separation, they will get severance pay equal to their entire base salary. That's a nice cushion. For Tier 4 participants, think director level, the severance is calculated differently. It is based on how long they have worked there. They get 3 weeks of their base salary for every full year they have been with the company. But there is a cap. They will not get more than their total base salary. Here is an interesting point. Even with the new rule starting in 2026, if the old way of calculating severance under the service-based formula results in a bigger payout for an executive than the new rules, they will get the bigger amount from the old formula up until the end of 2025. So they are grandfathering in some potentially better deals. Another perk is that for executives who are eligible for Cobra health insurance, FirstEnergy will cover part of the cost for up to 18 months after they leave. This is a significant benefit, helping them maintain health coverage during their transition. Now, to get any of this severance money, an executive has to sign a separation agreement. This agreement includes a release of claims, meaning they cannot sue the company. They also have to agree to confidentiality and not bad, mouthing the company. This release needs to be finalized within 60 days of leaving. The severance itself will be paid out in a lump sum within 2.5 months after the separation agreement becomes effective. Next up, let's look at the change in control plan. This one is all about what happens if the company is bought or undergoes some major ownership change. If an executive loses their job without cause or leaves for good reason within a 2-year window after a change in control, this plan kicks in. It is important to note that executives cannot get benefits from both this plan and another severance plan at the same time. They updated the definition of what counts as a change in control to match the one used in their 2020 incentive compensation plan. This is a good move for consistency and makes things simpler if such an event were to occur. Also, instead of needing an annual review to extend the plan, it will now automatically renew each year unless the board decides to end it. This shows a more automatic commitment to this type of protection. Similar to the other plan, executives receiving benefits under the change in control plan must also sign a release. Payments under this plan are also made in a lump sum within 60 days of the employee's termination. Now let's talk about equity awards, specifically restricted stock units or RSUs. They have new forms for these starting in 2026. For time-based RSF, there is a change in control and the RSUs are not replaced by similar awards from the new owners. Then all unvested RS will immediately become vested. This means executives would get ownership of those shares. For performance-based RS, in the event of a change in control, if they aren't replaced, they will vest at the target performance level. This means even if the company hasn't hit all its performance goals by that point, the executives will still get these shares based on achieving a specific level of performance. This is designed to ensure executives benefit from the value created leading up to a sale, even if all original targets aren't met. These descriptions are just summaries. For the full legal details, you would need to read the actual plan documents, which are attached as exhibits to this filing. And finally, we have the signature section. This is where a company executive officially signs off on the report. In this case, Jason J. Lisavsky, Vice President, Controller, and Director, who also acts as the Principal Financial Officer and Principal Accounting Officer, has signed this report on the 29th of September 2025. This confirms that the information provided is true and accurate to the best of his knowledge. Now let S step back and look at what this all means. On the surface, these updated severance and equity plans seem like standard corporate practice. Companies update these things regularly to stay competitive and to ensure they can attract and retain top talent. The fact that they are modernizing to match peer practices is a good sign that they are paying attention to market standards. However, the devil can be in the details. The automatic renewal of the change in control plan and the specific triggers for severance suggest a desire to provide significant financial security for top executives, especially during times of uncertainty like potential mergers or acquisitions. This can be seen as both a responsible measure to retain leadership through turbulent periods and potentially as a way to soften the blow for executives if a deal doesn't go through as planned or if they are displaced. The inclusion of the provision where executives can opt for the old severance calculation, if it is more beneficial, is a bit of a golden handcuff maneuver. It ensures that executives who might have had better severance packages under the old system until the end of 2025 are not disadvantaged by these new changes. This protects their expected future compensation. What is interesting is that there are no specific financial numbers tied directly to these severance plans in this particular filing. We don't see a big number for how much this might cost the company in the short term. That information would likely be buried in more detailed financial statements or future reports if these plans are triggered. For now, it is about the framework they are putting in place, looking at FirstEnergy Transmission LLC as a utility company, stability, and long. Term planning are crucial. These types of executive compensation and severance structures are common in heavily regulated industries where leadership continuity is important. The risk for investors is always how generous these packages are and whether they truly align executive interests with shareholder value creation, especially in a divestiture or change of control scenario. While these plans aim to incentivize leadership through potential changes, the question remains if they are overly so, potentially creating a disconnect. Overall, FirstEnergy Transmission LLC is putting in place robust plans for executive departures and changes in control. They appear to be aligning with industry standards while ensuring their top talent is well compensated and protected. The real test will be how these plans are applied if and when specific events occur. Alright, that is our breakdown of this FirstEnergy Transmission LLC filing. What is your take on these executive compensation and severance updates and what they signal for the company? Future, drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Done. Don't forget to check out the Discord community in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.